Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is your Vedic astrology coach Rajat Kapoor and welcome to my channel The Legit Astrologer. In my channel I make videos on Vedic astrology. I talk about transits and how these transits have an impact on all 12 ascendant or the moon signs. In the recent times I have made a video on Saturn's direct transit in the sign of Aquarius and also Mercury's retrograde transit in the sign of Scorpio. Those videos are available on my channel. Today this video is about Venus's upcoming transit in the friendly sign of Capricorn, which is the natural 10th house of the Kalpurusha Kundli, and this is happening on 2nd of December. Venus is going to stay in the sign of Capricorn till 28th of December. So this is a key transit of the month of December, and during this time Venus will be in mutual aspect with Mars, that is making a transit in the sign of Cancer. Yes, Mars, Mangal, has been going debilitated in the sign of Cancer. It will also go retrograde around 7th of December. So between 7th till 28th of December, Venus and Mars both are in very strong mutual aspect. They are in opposition to each other. Mars will have a very strong 7th drishti while it will go retrograde in the sign of Cancer, and Venus will also have a 7th aspect on Mars while it is making a transit in the sign of Capricorn. We call Venus Shri Shukra, and the presiding deity is Goddess Amba or Goddess Lakshmi. And one of the most powerful mantras to worship Venus is Om Ambe Namah or Om Lakshmi Namah. Now in this video I'll give you some very important golden tips on Venus, some information that has been never shared before. But I want you to make a note of the key dates. Between 8th of December till 11th of December, Venus will be in Abhijit Nakshatra, which is the 28th Nakshatra. It is the special Nakshatra that falls in Capricorn sign, in Makar Rashi. And Abhijit represents victory, but it represents victory after war. And during this time, Mars, which is a fiery planet, which signifies warrior, which signifies the commander, which signifies army, is in a mutual aspect with Venus. Venus signifies life on this planet. Venus is the significator of interaction between different human beings, and of course it plays a very important role in relationship building. Venus rules the natural 7th house or the sign of Libra, which indicates marriage, and it also indicates war. And during this time we can certainly see some sort of escalation as far as war is concerned because of the mutual aspect of Mars and Venus, and this signifies victory. This is Abhijit Nakshatra, which is victory after war. So either we could have some solution, one of the countries could overpower, or there could be an escalation of war with some of the other nations that could get involved as well. I hope though peace prevails, and we do need a much more peaceful time in this world more than ever. Let's talk about some interesting facts about Venus. Now Venus rules Taurus and Libra, which is the natural 2nd house of the Kalpurusha Kundli and the natural 7th house of the zodiac belt. Taurus is Venus's own sign, which is its home. Libra is Venus's office space or the Mool Trikon sign. Now if we count the number of houses from Taurus to Libra, we have 6 houses. So the office of Venus is 6 houses away from its home. This is called Yuddha Yatra, which signifies Upachaya, which means growth, because 3, 6, 10 and 11 are Upachaya Bhavas. 6th is a very important Upachaya Bhava. So this signifies growth through competition. And as I have mentioned, Venus is the 7th lord of the natural zodiac belt, which represents marriage and also war. Venus is the planet that brings people together from a workplace point of view. If you have a prominent Venus in your chart, if Venus is in any ways connected to your 1st house, 4th house, 5th house, 7th house, 10th house or the 11th house, such people are very much inclined towards workplaces or offices that are very noisy, that have a lot of people, things and event. There is something or the other that is happening all the time, and this is where Venus likes to manage multiple things at the same time. There is also a lot of competition that is happening as well, because Venus's yatra is called Yuddha Yatra, from home till the office space, which signifies growth by the virtue of other people, by the support of other people. Now, Venus also represents a noisy workplace or a marketplace where people and teams work towards common goals, common objectives. They work together, they come together to do things, and it is a lot to do with action. This is the transit of natural second house lord and the seventh house lord making a transit in the natural 10th house of the zodiac belt, which is certainly forming a yoga. Venus does very well in the sign of Capricorn because it brings harmony at work. It brings interaction at work. But during this transit, Venus is having a mutual aspect with a debilitated and retrograde Mars. So thankfully, Mars is going retrograde, which will really enhance its dignity. This Mars could rather behave like an exalted Mars, but its seventh aspect is quite strong. It is quite intensified. This could really intensify the ongoing wars that are happening across the world. Other countries may get involved, other people, other nations, other leaders may get involved, and it could be detrimental to a few nations. During this time, Venus is having a seventh aspect of desire on the sign of Capricorn, wherein Venus continues to desire harmony at home. Venus wants you to focus on things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. Venus does want to bring in a sense of compassion in this world, where we would like to take things in our own hands and work towards our goals and objectives that bring a sense of peace in our life, a sense of satisfaction in our life. Now, this Venus's movement from Taurus to Libra is also called the tiger's leap. And tiger is very well the animal of Ma Durga. So this is also one of the reasons we call it tiger's leap, because it is 6 houses away. And 6th house represents competition, represents obstacles, and represents very strong opposition. Now let us talk about how this transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs or the moon signs. At the physical level, you must read this transit from your ascendant sign. At a mental level, you can also read this transit from your moon sign. In case you're running through Dasha and the Dasha of Venus, Shukra, Mars, Saturn, you're likely to be impacted by this transit, or even Moon, you're likely to be impacted by this transit. In case you have any prominent planets in the sign of Cancer, in the sign of Capricorn, you're also likely to be impacted by this transit. Let us start with Aries ascendants and see how Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is going to have an impact on all Aries ascendant signs. Venus or Shukra is your 2nd and 7th lord. So it plays a very important role in your family, your consumption, your storage, your wealth, your accumulation, and of course how you share your resources with others, what you eat, what you consume. Also the 7th lord of marriage, war, opposition, those people who are opposite to you. We also see businesses and partnerships of all kind from the 7th house. This Venus is making a transit in your 10th house of karma, your actions in the society, what you do in order to survive and sustain yourself in the world. Venus is also one of the significators of the 10th house because it represents workplace relationships. So this is a time for you to establish credible partnerships, credible relationships as far as your workplace is concerned, because that is going to be favorable. Venus rules speech for you. So somehow your speech is going to play a very important role in building these relationships. So what you say will matter a lot. What you consume at your workplace. So you have to be careful of your diet, and of course particularly when you're eating at your workplace. Avoid eating at your desk or where you work. So maybe use a separate space, either breakout spaces or designated eating areas to have your meals, and avoid sitting at your desk and working. This is also an opportunity for you to declutter. Keep your surroundings neat and clean, particularly wherever you sit and work. That would need to be organized. So you might need to move things around and do something in order to help yourself. This Venus is aspecting your 4th house by its 7th aspect of desire. So Venus desires certain harmony at home. Your level of interaction could be tested as far as your home environment is concerned. Those things which make you feel happy, that make you feel content. Venus is in a mutual aspect with your Lagna Lord Mars, that is making a debilitated transit in the 4th house. Mars will also go retrograde. It has a very strong 7th aspect on Venus. Mars is that energy which is going to channelize Venus's interactive capabilities to help you build relationships. You would need to manage some conflict situations at workplace, and that is something which could also play a very important role in identifying the kind of relationships that you will build. And I hope that you continue to build positive relationship, and you channelize, foster these relationships to the best of your ability so that you can get some favors as far as your colleagues or as far as people that you work with are concerned. In case you're looking forward to any sort of expansion as far as business is concerned, this could be a favorable time. If you're expecting some sort of reward, incentive, or an increment, this could also be a favorable time in case your dasha antardasha is supportive. As a remedy, keep your workplace neat and clean, and I wish you the very best. Now let us talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus ascendants, Venus is your Lagna lord, lord of the ascendant. It's your first lord and the sixth lord. So Venus has dual roles. It rules yourself, your body, your vitality, your immunity. It rules your intelligence, who you are. Also your sixth lord of debts and diseases, your daily routines, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, your debts, your loans, competition, opposition, your enemies, and also your Lagna lord. So of course it's an important planet for you. This Venus is making a transit in your ninth house of long distance journeys, your father, higher learning, spiritual learning. This is the Dharma Bhava. This is also the Bhagya Bhava, or the house of fortune, the house of your lineage, your religion. This is naturally forming a yoga in transit because your Lord of the Ascendant is making a transit in the ninth house. This kind of transit only happens once in about an year or so. Okay, so this is an important time for you as far as fortune is concerned, because fortune could be favorable for you. So you could go on a journey, and if this journey is with regards to spiritual pursuits, if you go on a spiritual place, if you go on a spiritual retreat or a pilgrimage, this could be an extremely favorable time. This will really strengthen your dharma and also your bhagya. So I will encourage you to go on a journey. Worship goddess Lakshmi or goddess Durga during this time, and use mantras related to Ma Lakshmi. You could use a simple mantra, Om Lakshmi Namah, which could be quite beneficial for you since Venus is making this transit in your Bhagya Bhava. This Venus is aspecting your third house by its seventh aspect of desire. Venus desires change. Venus wants you to put your level of interaction, of course, enhance your communication with other people, because we also see change from the third house, we also see communication from the third house. So it wants you to have a communication that is very much focused on building relationship, because this is one area where Venus thrives. You already have a debilitated Mars making a transit in your third house. This Mars will also go retrograde. It will have a very strong, intense seventh aspect on Venus, which is really intensifying Venus's capabilities, which is bringing Venus a lot of energy, a lot of brightness. So its brightness could increase by 5 times. This Mars is debilitated, so Venus has a greater say as far as this particular transit is concerned, and this is how you would need to channelize it. Your decision making could be put at test because you will have some aggressive energies that will power you as far as decision making is concerned. So make sure that you are very thoughtful when it comes to making decisions. You are looking at all the pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages, and you're looking forward. You're thinking forward in terms of the kind of impact your decision will have on other people, and particularly your relationship, because there is certainly a relationship karma during this time which you would face. Your 3-9 axis is pretty active. There is heavy energy there. So this also indicates starting something new, going on a journey, or going on a pilgrimage. And change is the only thing which is constant. So if you're willing to start a new line of work, this could be a potentially favorable time for you in case your dasha antardasha is supportive, and I wish you the very best. Now let us talk about Gemini ascendants. What's happening with Gemini ascendants as far as Venus is transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned? For Gemini, Venus is the 5th lord and the 12th lord, one of the most important planets and the only Yoga Karaka planet. 5th lord plays a very important role in the chart because it rules your future. It rules children. It also rules love, because our love towards children is unconditional. So this is what this house represents, unconditional love. It also rules creativity. It is the Purva Punya Bhava. It means that deeds from the previous birth, and of course how it is going to fructify as far as the current life is concerned. This Venus also rules your 12th house of losses, of expenditure, of your higher self-consciousness, your level of self-awareness, your ability to give, your ability to donate. And this Venus is making a transit in the 8th house in the sign of Capricorn. This will also be getting into Abhijit Nakshatra, which is the 28th Nakshatra between 8th till 11th of December. These dates could be crucial from a transformation point of view. So change is inevitable as far as your future is concerned. So you would do some sort of future planning during this month, which could be quite beneficial for you. Venus is the 12th lord making a transit in the 8th house, which is a Viparita Yoga in transit, and it is a Viparita Raja Yoga. Considering your Dasha Antadasha, circumstances initially could be a little bit challenging for you, but eventually you will rise. See, Venus firstly is a natural benefit and also a functional benefit for you. So it does well in the 8th house. It is not a bad placement. Secondly, Venus is the only planet that attained the knowledge of Mrit Sanjeevani by the blessings of Lord Shiva. And 8th house is the house of longevity. It is the Ayush Bhava. So Venus from that point also feels comfortable as far as this house is concerned. This Venus will be in a mutual aspect with Mars, which is making a debilitated transit in your 2nd house, also going retrograde. So there is some sort of transformation you can expect at a personal level. Make sure you take care of your speech and try to be soft and polite with people. You will naturally have aggressiveness, firepower, but channelize these energies to the best of your capability so that you could build credible relationships with other people. If you're in the business of consulting, a lot of people will come to you to seek your advice, to seek your guidance or help, because this is the kind of command which you will have during this transit. Change is inevitable, and that is the only thing which is constant. Venus desires you to increase your income, maybe look at creating a secondary source of income. Think about it during this time. As far as from your future pursuits are concerned, initial situation could be a little bit challenging, but as and when time progresses, it is going to be a excellent transit for you, because you're going to influence a lot of people during this time who would come to you. Use mantras related to Venus. Read Shri Suktam every day. This could be highly beneficial for you, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Cancer Ascendants. What's happening with Cancer Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned, which is happening on 2nd of December, and it would last till 28th of December. So almost the entire month of December, Venus is making a transit in the sign of Capricorn. This is your 4th lord and the 11th lord. The lord of comfort space, your 4th house, your home, your mother, your homeland, your happy, safe space, things that make you feel happy, or your sense of contentment in life. Venus also rules your 11th house of income, of accumulated gains, and of course your material comforts. We see Aya. It is called the Aya Bhava. Therefore, it plays a very important role in your life. So Venus gains a neutral dignity as far as Cancer Ascendants are concerned. But this is an important transit for you, because Venus this time is making a transit in your 7th house. So firstly, Venus is moving out of its Maran Karaka position that it has been transiting since the last few weeks, moving out of the 6th house, now entering your 7th house, where Venus is the Karaka or the significator of the natural 7th house of the zodiac belt. So it is a good dignity as far as Venus's placement is concerned. It's your 4th lord entering in your 7th house, so it would want to bring in a sense of harmony as far as your marital relationship is concerned and marital harmony is concerned, because you might have been going through some sort of karma from a relationship point of view, and the aggressiveness or the energies that have been there, now is the time when it will tone down. You need to evolve your personality, and your objective should be to build credible relationships by the virtue of your personality development. So the more you focus on your interaction with others, it will be better for you to build credible relationships and how you could be benefited during this time. So this Venus is your 11th lord making a transit in the 7th house, which also indicates that there could be some gains as far as your spouse is concerned, or in case you're looking forward to getting into a new relationship, marriage, this could also be on the cards. You can very well come across with someone who you could establish a good relationship with. This Venus is aspecting your 1st house by its 7th aspect of desire. Venus definitely wants you to transform for good. You're going to be very picky when it comes to wearing clothes or getting dressed up, and of course how you carry yourself, and use that to your strength. in order to create good impression on other people. So self-grooming will be your priority. You already have Mars going through your ascendant, which is debilitated. It will go retrograde as well. It will have a very intense 7th aspect on Venus, and of course both will be in a mutual aspect. So it's an intense situation between you and your partner. So you definitely have some more relationship karma over the next few weeks. You will have to make some compromise, you will have to make some adjustments. So be prepared for it, be proactive in order to take things in your hands. Worship Lord Narasimha during this time. This could be extremely beneficial for you. Use mantras related to Mangal or Mars, or you could also worship Lord Hanuman or read Hanuman Chalisa every day, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Leo Ascendants and what's happening with Leo Ascendants as far as Venus is transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned, which is going to be there for the entire month of December almost. Venus is your 3rd lord and the 10th lord. So Venus plays a very important role because it's your 10th lord of actions in the society, your work, your profession, your karma bhava, what you do in order to survive, sustain yourself in this world. Venus also rules your 3rd house of efforts, of valor, your courage, of your things that you do using your hands, your co-borns or your younger siblings. We also see change from the 3rd house. We also see short journeys from the 3rd house, or its lord plays a very important role. This Venus is now making a transit in your 6th house in the sign of Capricorn. So Venus is considered Maran Karaka in the 6th house. This is also a kind of Viparita Yoga because your 3rd lord is making a transit in the 6th house, but this Venus has gone Maran Karaka. So Venus is losing its significance. Workplace scenario could be a bit challenging as far as the month of December is concerned. You could face some politics. You could face some opposition during this time. It's a short phase. So be prepared to face opposition. Be prepared to also counter your expenditure because your expenditure is likely to increase over the next few days or weeks. So if it is being made for good use, then it is good for you. And I always say that when you have higher expenditure, you get support as far as your income is concerned as well. So that is also directly proportionate. So it is likely to rise as well. Now you will have to put in a lot more efforts from a relationship point of view and also from your work or job point of view, because you might have to put 5 times more the effort than you usually do because you are likely to have a lot of opposition during this time. So be prepared for it. It is just a phase. In case your Dasha and the Dasha is supportive, this time period can also see you make a job change or probably have some new prospects as far as job opportunities are concerned. So be prepared for this relationship karma. This Venus is aspecting your 12th house by its 7th aspect of desire. So Venus firstly wants you to fix your sleep and have a very good at least 8 hours of sleep. This is your opportunity window to fix your routine, to get some peace in life and reduce your levels of stress, and also increase your spirituality and spiritual practices because there is a Mars which is debilitated, and this Mars will also go retrograde in your 12th house, and they will have a very intense aspect. So your 6th, 12th house is very much active. You might have to make some hospital visits, so go for a regular routine checkup during this time. From a spiritual point of view, this is an excellent transit because you will be able to step out of the situation, you will be able to introspect, and you will be able to spend a lot of time with yourself. So use that to the best of your abilities, and any mantras that you use, if it is related to Mangal, Mars, or also related to your Lagna Lord Surya, that could be quite beneficial for you, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Virgo Ascendants and what's happening with Virgo Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. For you, Venus is the 2nd lord and the 9th lord. So Venus plays a very important role in all wealth related matters. Venus rules your wealth, your accumulation, your family. It is the Kutumba Bhava, your speech, what you consume, what you eat, what you store, and of course how you share your resources with loved one. Venus also rules your 9th lord, the Bhagya Bhava. So it is your Bhagyesha, lord of your fortune, long journeys, your father or father figure, or your guru. This Venus is making a transit in your 5th house of mantras. So it's very clear, any mantras that you use, if it is related to Venus, Ma Lakshmi, Ma Durga, any of the deities related to Venus, success is guaranteed. You will be able to channelize the energies of Venus to the best of your abilities. wealth creating opportunities are quite favorable in case you use mantras related to Venus, or you can read Shri Suktam each and every day, or use a simple mantra Om Lakshmi Namah during this time. You could be benefited. Now, Venus does very well in the 5th house because this is the house of progress. This is the house of creativity, and Venus loves to be creative. So, you're likely to, use your creative abilities, and that will foster your bhagya, and you can have some sort of rise in your income during this time. Or if you're expecting an increment or an incentive or a promotion as well, that is also likely, or you could likely to be set up for a future progression, because this house represents future, and Venus plays a very important role as far as progress is concerned, and that is from a wealth standpoint. This Venus is aspecting your 11th house by the 7th aspect of desire. So Venus desires you to increase your network, and of course create a very harmonious environment as far as your friends are concerned. So you are going to influence people. You're also going to focus on what could bring you gains, what could bring you some comfort. You're likely to spend on some gadget purchasing at home, or some machinery that could help you, maybe a new washing machine, a new refrigerator, a new television, or some sort of household item. It could be a vacuum cleaner as well. So these are some of the purchases that you will make. If not, you may end up buying a new phone as well. Okay. Venus is in a mutual aspect with Mars during this time, which is making a debilitated transit in your 11th house, and this Mars will also go retrograde. It has a very intense aspect on Venus. So your 5-11 axis is pretty active. So Venus is getting a lot of energies. Your creativity will be at its peak, so make use of it, make advantage. Love is also going to be high, so there's a lot of passion during this time. So you might come across with someone wherein you might fall in love, or you might start a new relationship. This could be a pretty much favorable time for you, and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Libra Ascendant and what's happening with Libra Ascendants as far as Venus is transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. For you, Venus is the first lord, the lord of the Ascendant, which is the ruler of yourself, your overall body, your personality, your vitality, immunity, your intelligence, who you are. We also see your brain sits in the first house. Venus is also your 8th lord of transformation, of longevity, sudden ups and downs, sudden changes, places which are across the seas, far off places, unknown lands, different languages. This Venus is making a transit in your 4th house of your comfort, your happy space, your mother, your homeland, where you feel most protected. Venus gains directional strength, or is Digbali in the 4th house. Therefore, there are blessings of Ma Lakshmi during this time. There are blessings of Ma Durga during this time. Okay. So from that aspect, it is very good because it is in great dignity. It is also forming a yoga because it's your first lord making a transit in the 4th house. You could make some decisions related to your assets, either real estate or a vehicle. You might buy or sell your vehicle during this time. You might make some changes as far as your vehicle is concerned during this phase, or you might make some changes as far as your house is concerned, some sort of renovation that you might have to do during this time. This could be quite okay for you. This is not a bad phase because this will bring in a sense of joy. This is a perfect time to declutter your house, clean up your house and do it yourself. See, Venus demands you, it wants you to step out of your comfort zone because it's also your 8th lord. So a lot of transformation, a lot of sudden changes is coming in your house. So it wants you to transform, it wants you to step out of your comfort zone, try out new things, some of those things that you've never done in the past, and also keep a greater focus on things which are of your personal interest during this time. So you would want to engross yourself and of course engage yourself in activities, in certain hobbies or certain interest areas during this time. This Venus is aspecting your 10th house by its 7th aspect of desire. So Venus wants you to build cordial relationships with people at your workplace. You might have gone through some political situation or some conflicting situation with your colleagues or with your bosses in the last couple of months. But this is the time to bury the hatchet. This is the time to establish good credible relationships with people who are at your workplace. Venus is going to be in a mutual aspect with Mangal, with Mars, which is already making a debilitated transit in your 10th house, but this Mars is also gaining directional strength. So 4-10 axis is pretty active. Expect some sort of change in your job. Expect new opportunities coming in. That is quite favorable for you. Both these planets are making a strong transit in Kendra houses in your chart. This is like an opportunity month for you where you could make some breakthrough decisions related to your home and also related to your office or your workplace, and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Scorpio Ascendants and what's happening with Scorpio Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. Venus is your 7th and the 12th lord. It rules your 7th house and 12th house. It plays a very important role in all relationship matters because it's your 7th lord, the lord of marriage, partnership, and it also rules war, people who are opposite to you, your businesses, and of course the sense and what your outer world of things, people, and events mean to you. Venus also rules your 12th house of higher self-consciousness, of losses, expenditure. It is the house of unlimited potential, and of course this lord also has a greater potential. This Venus is making a transit in your 3rd house of valor, of courage, change, your younger siblings, your communication, and of course things that you do while using your hands. We also see journeys, short journeys from the 3rd house. Now your 7th lord is making a transit in the 3rd house, so expect some sort of change as far as relationship is concerned. You might also need to take control of your expenditure during this time. So you would focus more on savings, you'll focus more on investments. You might make some long-term investment related decisions during this time. Communication is the key. So one of the remedy for you could be that you write about gratitude. Write a journal about gratitude because Venus itself means gratitude. Venus is Shri Shukra and that itself means gratitude. So if you write about it, you will be able to channelize these energies in an appropriate manner. This Venus is aspecting your 9th house by its 7th aspect of desire. Venus desires you to focus a lot on your dharma, on your bhagya as well, and at the same time get some sort of guru upadesha, blessing from your mentor or a guru during this time. So you might come across with a mentor where you would need some direction, some guidance that could be quite helpful, quite beneficial for you. This is also considering the fact that Mars, which is your Lagna lord, is making a debilitated transit in your 9th house, and both Mars and Venus are in a mutual aspect, and this aspect is quite intense. Your 3-9 axis is pretty much active during this time. So go on a journey, and if this journey is for spiritual goals, if you go on a spiritual retreat or a pilgrimage, this could be extremely beneficial for you during this time. This also indicates start of something new, a new kind of job or a new kind of role or a new business opportunity that could also be on the cards. Now understand one thing, Venus when making a transit in the 3rd house has high desires as far as people from the opposite sex are concerned. So be careful and take control, channelize your desires in a way that you're using this for good and for your own higher learning. So be hungry to learn. This is the ultimate way how you can channelize your desires to gain the most as far as this transit is concerned, and I wish you the very best. Now let us talk about Sagittarius Ascendants and what's happening with Sagittarius Ascendants as far as Venus is transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. For you, Venus is a potent malefic because it rules 2 such houses that represents enemies and opposition, your 6th house and the 11th house. 6th house represents enemies, 11th house, which is 6th from the 6th house, represents bigger enemies, greater enemies. Venus rules deaths and diseases. It rules things that you do on a day-to-day basis, your daily routines, also your job, your opposition, your competition. It is also the 11th lord of gains of your wider social network. Also, we see friends from the 11th house. Your material comfort, your material wealth is seen from the 11th house. However, 11th lord is a potent malefic for most ascendants. And this Venus is making a transit in your 2nd house of wealth, of your accumulation, your family, your kutumbha bhava. So you need to ensure that your family is protected during this time from other people, because your family could be susceptible towards the negative energies and negative influence of other people. So make sure that you protect them. Also protect your income, your wealth, because if you are making or thinking about any decisions related to your savings, related to your wealth, keep it to yourself. Don't go ahead and talk about it with a lot of people, because you may be given a wrong advice, or you may come across a sort of communication which could confuse you, which could help you not make a decision, and your decision making would be at test during this time. So trust your own judgment, trust your own conviction, and avoid any such influence from other people during this time. This is something which you have to be careful of. You will also undergo some sort of transformation as far as your eating habits is concerned. That is likely to go through some sort of change. So you could be proactive and start eating healthy, or you can learn the hard way, and the hard way could be detrimental to your health. This Venus is aspecting your 8th house by its 7th aspect of desire. So Venus desires you to transform for good. See, this Venus is in a mutual aspect with Mars during this time, and you need to understand Mars is an important planet for you, because this Mars for you rules your 5th house, and these two are in a very amazing mutual aspect because there are heavy energies during this time. So channelize these energies of Mars and make sure that you do not bring any sort of aggressiveness as far as your speech is concerned, because your relationship could be impacted during this time. So make sure that you're soft, you're humble, and you practice humility with other people during this time. Your job could see some sort of change in income, some sort of shift in income, whether there's an increase or decrease. That will depend on your ongoing dasha and Antardasha. But this is also a natural Dhan yoga in transit, because your Venus is the 11th lord making a transit in the 2nd house. This is a sign for you to start thinking about creating a secondary source of income during this time, and how you can do that. Use mantras related to Mars or Mangal, or you can worship Lord Narasimha or Lord Kartikeya during this time. You can also read Hanuman Chalisa for your benefit, and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Capricorn Ascendants. What's happening with Capricorn Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. So please welcome Venus in your Lagna, in your 1st house. And this transit only happens once in about a year, which is an opportunity for you, because Venus is a Yoga Karaka planet for you. It's your 5th lord and the 10th lord, and an opportunity for you to close out the year at a high, on a good note, and try to fix a lot of things in your life. Venus is your 5th lord, the lord of future, your children, your progress, your success, creativity. We also see corruption or falling down from the 5th house, because of course with power comes great responsibility, and of course with power comes ego or a sense of corruption as well. So we got to be mindful of that. Your 10th lord, which is the lord of your profession, your actions in the society, what you do in order to survive and sustain yourself in this world. It is all about work. And this Venus is making a transit in your 1st house. It is forming a yoga. Both 5th and 10th houses are Rajya Bhavas, or houses of kingdom. And this Venus is giving a Simhasana yoga when it is forming a yoga, and of course making a transit in the 1st house, which is your Lagna, which is your ascendant. So it wants you to, of course, transform and transform for good. Make sure that you focus a lot on self-care during this time. Self-grooming and self-care. So spend time with yourself to do things which make you feel good. So either it could be going for shopping, or going to the salon or the parlor to, of course, take care of your things, and at the same time focus on your grooming and your well-being during this time. See, both ways it is forming a yoga. So from a work standpoint, this could be a particularly favorable transit, because you will feel a lot more confident at your workplace. Your decisions would be good, because you will have a strong decision making during this time. So whatever decisions you take are going to be quite important for the coming year for you. This Venus is aspecting your 7th house by its 7th aspect of desire. So Venus wants to bring a sense of love, affection, and abundance in your relationship. In case you're looking forward to establishing or having a new relationship, this could be a particularly favorable time. This Venus is in a mutual aspect with Mars, which is making a debilitated transit in your 7th house. So firstly, Mars is debilitated it will go retrograde, and third, it is also Maran Karaka in this house. So it is a triple whammy kind of a situation for you. Please protect your relationship during this time. Please let not lose it, because you are getting a time window for about a month where Venus favors, and of course these energies are quite intense. So channelize, use your passion, and of course support your partner, reach out to them and listen to them, take their advice during this time. Otherwise you can have a very strong conflict during this time, which could become the primary cause of your stress. So make sure that you channelize these energies. Worship either Goddess Lakshmi during this time, or you could also worship Lord Vishnu. Use any Vishnu mantras during this time, which could highly benefit you. You could use a simple mantra, Om Vishnave Nama, during this time. You could have some good benefits as far as this transit is concerned, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Aquarius Ascendants and what's happening with Aquarius Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. For you, Venus is a Yoga Karaka planet because it rules a Kendra house and a trinal house. Venus is your 4th lord and it is also your 9th lord. Commonly, Venus is the significator of mother and also father for Aquarius Ascendants. That's why I always say that they have naturally some karma towards the parents which they have to fulfill in their life. Sooner or later, they do realize that. Venus is your 4th lord of mother, your happiness, your comfort space. Those things or places, people which make you happy, that make you feel a sense of contentment. Those people or places where you feel more safe, more secure. Also your 9th lord of Bhagya, your fortune, long journeys, your father or father figure or a guru, higher spiritual learning. This Venus is making a transit in the 12th house of expenditure, losses, foreign lands. We also see expenditure, we also see a sense of higher self-consciousness from the 12th house, your house of unlimited potential. So this Venus is of course making you inclined towards spirituality, because your lord of higher learning or Bhagya has gone into the spiritual house, the house of your sleep and your bed comforts as well. So of course you would want to fix your sleep during this time. You would want to make sure that you get proper rest so that you're energized all through the day. Otherwise you could feel a bit drained out, because your 6 and 12 axis is quite active during this time. Venus is making a transit in the 12th house. See, Venus is one planet that doesn't do bad in the 12th house because it naturally gets exalted into the 12th house. So as a remedy, you need to ensure that you keep your feet clean. Maybe go for a pedicure or probably something that could pamper you, and ensure that your feet are clean and there are no issues with it. This is a simple remedy for you. Venus is going to aspect your 6th house by the 7th aspect of desire. So it wants you to fix your daily routine and of course things that you do on a day-to-day basis. There could also be some sort of change as far as your job is concerned. So you could make some breakthrough decisions as far as your future is concerned during this time. This Venus is the mutual aspect with Mars, which is already making a debilitated transit in your 6th house, which is giving Mars Nichebhanga, but this Mars will go retrograde. It will have a very intense aspect with Venus. It's a 6 and 12 axis. There could be some hospital visits. So make sure that you go for a regular checkup. You take care of your own health and well-being during this time, which you might need to fix, and this is a clear indication for you. Worship Goddess Lakshmi during this time. Use a simple mantra, Om Lakshmi Namah, during this time, and you could be benefited by this transit because it will increase your level of awareness. Your mind will open up, and of course when mind opens up, we realize that we have unlimited potential, and we start putting our plans and strategizing accordingly. And for that, I wish you the very best. Now let us talk about Pisces Ascendants and what's happening with Pisces Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Capricorn is concerned. For you, Venus is a potent malefic. It's your 3rd lord and the 8th lord. So it rules 2 not so good houses. It rules valor, courage, change, your younger siblings, your communication, which is seen from the 3rd house. Your efforts are seen from the 3rd house. 3rd house is also the Upajaya Bhava, the house of growth. It is also your 8th lord of longevity, your Ayush, sudden ups and downs, sudden changes, secret places, your debts, your loans, and also unknown spaces. Your inheritance is also seen, and happiness from marriage is also seen from the 8th house. Your sense of contentment is seen from the 8th house as far as marital harmony is concerned. This Venus is making a transit in the 11th house of gains, your material comfort, your wider social network, your ability to influence others, your income, and of course, how that will play a role. Any planet that makes a transit in the 11th house, and particularly if it's a natural benefic, it is very good. So, this is an opportunity window for you. In spite of Venus not being the best or the ideal graha for you, this is quite a positive transit because it is making a transit in the 11th house. Change is something which is constant, but this transit will help you become a lot more strong at the mental level. So you will be prepared for bigger and greater challenges in your life during this time. There is some karma that is pertaining towards your friends. Either you will get involved in resolving conflicts amongst two other friends, or you will be a part of that situation, but this will help you by the virtue of your good decision making to ensure that your relationship is intact and that does not get affected, and you have to just be conscious of the fact. Other people can come to you for suggestion, for advice, to seek your advice, to get your recommendation. So make sure that you're making the most of this time, because you could influence a lot of other people. You will have the power of negotiation, the power of influence during this time by the virtue of your interaction, because your purpose of communication would be to reach a win-win outcome, and it will be more important for you to have that outcome in your favor. And this is something how you could channelize these energies of Venus. This Venus is aspecting your 5th house by its 7th aspect of desire. So it wants you to put together some action plans as far as your future is concerned. What is the kind of change that you would like to see as far as your future to make you future ready? This Venus has a mutual aspect with Mars, which is already making a debilitated transit in your 5th house, and Mars is your 9th lord. It is an important planet for you. It is your Bhagyesha, and this Mars is also going to retrograde, so it will have a very intense mutual aspect with Venus. Your 5th and 11th axis is pretty active. There could be some sort of increase as far as your income is concerned, or you could get some positional success or a recognition during this time or over the next few weeks. Make sure that you work towards it. Any mantras that you use during this time, it is going to bring you a lot of energy, a sense of energy. This could be mantra related to Jupiter. This could be mantra related to Mars during this time, and I wish you the very best. So friends, this was about Venus's transit in the earthy sign of Capricorn. I hope and believe Venus's transit in Capricorn helps us bring a sense of self-nurturing, helps us focus a lot as far as your workplace is concerned, to build credible, important and long-lasting relationships at work and in life in general. Thank you very much. God bless you all.